Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to today's Future of Air Mobility Accelerator Application Support webinar. I'm your host for today, and we've been supporting Connected Places Catapult in shaping and launching the next iteration, the third iteration of the Future of Air Mobility Accelerator. The agenda for today, we've got a quick welcome from myself and an introduction to the program before we hear from our team, friends at the Future Flight Challenge at UKRI. And then we've got some further information on how to apply for the next accelerator, followed by some time for a Q&A. So if you have any questions that you wish to ask throughout the webinar, please do leave them till the end and we'll get those answered. First up, though, I've just got a quick introduction video to show you to give you a bit of a background and context into who Connected Places Catapult are.
For millennia, cities have been places where bright ideas spark. From the earliest riverside trading posts that turned into today's sprawling megacities in the digital global economy. Cities can create positive experiences for people, always connected by technology. And when connected places work well, it's good for people and the planet. But making a connected place succeed is hard. There's loads of stakeholders, businesses, regulators, and community groups who want to be involved across every mode of transport, every type of building, the infrastructure that underpins them, and the data and digital platforms that connect them. All of this is needed to help people, communities, neighbourhoods, and local businesses to prosper. Now, more than ever, we need our connected places to succeed. We are in a climate emergency. Rapid urbanisation means 3/4 of us will be living in a city by 2050. And new technologies are revolutionising the way that we live, the way we work, and the way we travel, creating fantastic opportunities for innovation, jobs, and growth. At Connected Places Catapult, we connect people, places, and businesses for a future of sustainable growth and prosperity. We are the UK's innovation accelerator for cities, transport, and place leadership. We are trusted across government, industry, and academia, connecting new technologies, business models, and investment opportunities. So join with us and be better connected for a future of sustainable growth and prosperity.
A fundamental part to the amazing work that Connected Places Catapult delivers is the accelerator team within the Catapult itself. Over the last 7 years, they've delivered several high impactful accelerator programs across integrated infrastructure, maritime and ports, air mobility and airports, rail and stations, and homes and housing. And this is just a short display of some of the programs in their place-based locations across the UK. And some of the amazing partners they've worked with along the way. In terms of how they add value to accelerator programs, Connected Places Catapult have a deep network of technical experts and market experts that help on various things, from challenge discovery and mining, through to due diligence on technology, through to technical support in the development of some of the SMEs that they work with. They've got a growing network of now over 4,000 SMEs that help to form part of the programs themselves in terms of scouting and scoping. They're very big on the network engagement through the impactful events they deliver, and also impact tracking the impact of the programs themselves into the SME communities. CPC acts as a neutral convener within the markets itself, providing access to market actors to SMEs, commercial partners, policymakers, as well as providing access to funding opportunities for SMEs. But we're here today to focus on the Future of Air Mobility Accelerator programme. The program itself is a 6-month accelerator program, now going into its 3rd edition in partnership with the Future Flight Challenge team from UKRI. The next program will select up to 8 SMEs, where they'll receive support from a consortium of partners on the trialling and testing of disruptive technologies, alongside bespoke support, including investment readiness, product development, and introductions to potential customers. Some of the partners that are following the next program include Ferrovial Vertiports, Cranfield University, Coventry University, and the CAA. And we're going to be announcing even more partners in the coming weeks. To date, we've accelerated 20 SMEs throughout the Air Mobility program across the 2 cohorts. But we just wanted to highlight that the program itself also acts as a convener for the ecosystem across air mobility and airports. And here's just a short illustration, not an endless list, but just some of the organizations that the cohorts themselves has managed to network with and run proof of concepts with throughout the last 2 years. Whilst we're still collecting all the impact from the second program, we just wanted to illustrate the impact that these programs have. And this is a quick demonstration of the impact that the first program had over the duration of the 6 months. 11 SMEs were selected, where they worked with 5 industry partners, 3 government partners, and 2 academic partners, and in total delivered 12 proof of concept projects, where they received so over 700 hours of support. And that was broken down into various aspects, such as business modeling support, commercial investment, and also in-kind support from the partners. Collectively, the cohort raised over 5.5 million in funding whilst on the program, alongside an additional 5.9 million in CR&D funding through grant-funded opportunities. It also helped the SMEs commercially in terms of driving 3.5 million in revenue collectively, alongside creating 65 new jobs. This brings us on to the challenges that have been set for the next program. In terms of how we actually design these challenges, we go through an iteration of steps, starting with the identification and opportunity identification, which we do with the air mobility ecosystem, reaching out to organizations across industry, government, and policy. We then start to look at the various themes that are coming through in terms of areas of investment and challenges faced by all the different organizations. We start to prioritize those. We then run these collectively across all the program partners before finalizing a series of challenge statements, which we're going to dig deeper into today. The challenges that we've got for the next program are broken down into these 5 bucket areas, looking at the integration of future air mobility, the future airport and vertiport operations, future security operations, inclusive passenger accessibility, and finally, decarbonizing future air mobility. And we're just going to go through each one, just dive a little bit deeper into the types of solutions that we're looking for. So within challenge 1, we're really interested in solutions in the integration of future air mobility when it comes to the infrastructure and how that infrastructure will in the future integrate into existing transport networks. We're also interested in construction modeling for future mobility transportation hubs, such as vertiports, alongside looking at the developments in integrated and collaborative airspace management solutions. Furthermore, we're looking at how do we better understand the effects of micro-weather systems on future mobility operations. And we're also really interested in monitoring and understanding societal perceptions and the public perceptions around advancements in air mobility. And finally, within this category, we're also interested in the integration of cyber-secure systems as part of operations. Within Challenge 2, when we look at the operations within vertiports and airports themselves, we're interested in disruptive solutions which will provide seamless self-service passenger management and processing. We're looking at how future air mobilities will integrate alongside existing traditional aviation. We're also interested in the autonomous side of air, ground, and vehicle operations. And finally, how data is shared across all of these elements of operations in an efficient way. Within Challenge 3, we're looking at the future airport security operations, where we're looking at technologies that will enable us to improve the passenger processing and monitoring of hand luggage throughout the terminals. We're interested in automated detection technologies, which will help with the prohibited items identification. We're also interested in technologies that will enable a centralized and multi-stakeholder integrated security operation process. and also solutions looking at the maximizing of security checkpoint uptime through smart maintenance and monitoring technologies. Within Challenge 4, in decarbonising the future of air mobility, we're interested in finding solutions that will help with energy demand modelling and management for airports and vertiports of the future. We're also interested in solutions which will help with greenhouse gas monitoring and analysis to help with reduction. We're also interested in demand modelling, storage, and the scaling of green fuels and energy within airports and vertiports themselves. And finally, also interested in solutions that will help with a growing aviation circular economy when it comes to end-of-life components. And finally, the final challenge area, inclusive passenger accessibility. We're really interested in solutions that will help with the integration of airline and airport passenger operations for those passengers that require assistance. We're really interested in finding new ways to support passengers with wayfinding and navigation, alongside improving the communication and information access for impaired passengers. And finally, enhancing the inclusivity and accessibility of the facilities themselves when it comes to processing passengers who require assistance. I'm now going to hand over to Amy Kemp from UKRI Future Flights team, who are a fundamental partner of the programme. So Amy, I'd like you to welcome you to the room.
Hi, everybody. Yes, Amy Camp. I am an innovation lead on the Future Flight Challenge. Hopefully you may have heard of us by now, but if not, don't worry. I'm just here to let you know a little bit about us. So if you want to take me to a first slide, that'd be great, Ben. So the Future Flight Challenge is a £300 million programme, 125 of direct government investment, and it's a 5-year programme. We're due to close March 2025 now, and we are funding technologies throughout the future of aviation. So that covers quite a lot, and I'll get onto a few of those things in a minute, but we designed our program to be a highly collaborative program in 3 phases. So we are currently in phase 3 of 3. So we are coming to the sort of final part of the program. And you may have seen in stage 1 and 2, we did a lot of collaborative workshops and some smaller pockets of funding that was trying to pull together different aspects of the industry. Phase 3 is a highly demonstration-driven phase. So we've got some very large partners, some very large consortium working together. I'm really excited to have you guys on board as a part of that as well. So yeah, 78 projects funded in total. We've got 15 live from our phase 3, which I think between the 15 of them, they've got about 75 million. So some very large projects. But yeah, do you want to pop to the next slide? That'd be great. So what is it that we're funding? So Future Flight Challenge was brought about because it recognized that the new technologies that are emerging need a lot of support across the ecosystem if they're going to be commercially viable. So that is looking at their market development, that's looking at air traffic management, that's looking at regulation, regulation obviously being quite an important part of changing the way we use the sky. We've also got to change a lot with our physical infrastructure in the UK, including charging, storage of potential hydrogen, depending which fuel or fuel that we use moving forward. There's also a lot in the comm systems, digital systems. As a lot of you probably know, aviation is not as digital as it could be. So there's a lot of improvement if we're to have thousands of drones flying around the sky. So Future Flight was brought about not necessarily to fund the vehicle development, but the ecosystem that supports them and surrounds them. So it really does incorporate absolutely anything that might contribute to getting a vehicle in the sky, which is very exciting. So obviously a large part of what drives that is the actual use cases themselves and understanding those. So we found as a challenge that we have driven ourselves by the use case scenarios that we can find throughout the UK so that we can really understand the public need and the infrastructure need for these technologies before we go deploying them or changing anything. If you pop to the next slide, that'd be great. So you may have seen some of our good news that's come out, and there's so much more coming out, and being in our final year of demonstration, there is a lot more to be seen from us. But one of my favorites on here is the Coventry Urban Airport. You may have seen that was probably over a year ago now. We had a vertiport installed from the ground up in just a few weeks, and it was accepting drone flights in the middle of Coventry city centre, which just goes to prove that you can bring this technology to the centre of a busy city, and also proved the accessibility of being able to access these technologies. So that's one of the examples, and you can go and have a look on Future Flight Challenge page and read more about some of our projects that we've got live in phase 3 and previously had in phase 2. But there's lots of exciting things happening. If you pop to the next slide, that'd be great. Fab. So how do you fit into all this? So as I mentioned, we see ourselves as an ecosystem-driven program. We're trying to deal with every tiny piece of the puzzle that's going to contribute towards changing the way we use these technologies and the future of flight. So we've got a lot of work going on outside of the funding itself, including an airspace integration working group, which is being heavily, obviously, driven by the CAA. We've got social science research. We've committed over 2 million to social science research and onboarded a director of social science who is working hard to understand the impacts that these technologies could have on the public's as well as the public's perception. And if you're interested in that, there is a public dialogue already published on this, and we'll be publishing more next year. We've also just launched Community Integration Working Group, so understanding how communities around the UK, particularly local governments and emergency services, etc., might benefit or disbenefit from these technologies and how they might support these technologies becoming more commercially viable. We've also, we're in the midst of funding 13 skills projects that are looking to upskill areas that we're lacking skills in within the industry currently. So that's a really exciting piece. We've just launched an investment readiness piece. So obviously, being a heavily SME-led program, we have a lot of businesses looking to take the next step. So Innovate Edge, which if you were successful, you'd have access to, I believe, as well. They are supporting projects and businesses and understanding next steps after future flight funding. So that's really exciting. We're obviously working with the CAA heavily. We've got a lot of work streams, and we work with their innovation hub. We've also working with British Standards. We've got a large piece of work where we've actually put forward funding for particular standards within the industry that might remove hurdles for us moving forward. So a lot going on. And the foam accelerators, this is the third one that we've been a part of now, and they are just as crucial as everything else, like an ecosystem is. You take one part out and it will fall apart. So we see foam as being the innovation that drives the smaller finite details that we haven't quite got to grips with yet. We haven't quite understood, or there's gaps in our current sort of roadmaps that we might need filling. So it's all really important work, and we really want to see the collaboration with our accelerator programs like this with the rest of future flight industry. So we do heavily support the foam accelerators sharing their work with the Future Flight Challenge projects, and the Future Flight Challenge projects sharing back as well. So big on collaboration, and I really hope to see what comes through this time, because it's been an absolute brilliant ride the last 2 times. So yeah, we're always happy to help innovate. I think that's me. So
Amazing. Thank you, Amy. Thanks very much. If you do have any questions, pop them in the Q&A box and we'll get those answered at the end. So just moving on, in terms of how to join or how to apply for the next program, I just want to start with just some of the benefits that you will receive if you are selected. So the funding opportunity itself, it provides opportunity for around £25,000 funding, grant funding from UKRI. During the program itself, you also get access to investment support in terms of investor readiness, access to an investor network. We also provide business development support in the form of networking events and a demo day showcase at the end. We also provide technical support on some of the trials and proof of concept. So in terms of developing your IP or your technology further, we can plug you into technical experts within CBC or externally. We provide coaching and mentoring in terms of creating pitch decks and business support, and also growth focus as well. And the program culminates with a demo day showcase where the SMEs, the cohort, is asked to present the achievements from the program and the proof of concepts together with the partners. The program itself is broken down into 2 streams: a technical stream, as mentioned, so in terms of supporting you and delivering the trials, and also the commercial element of that as well, in terms of bespoke commercial development support. What it will look like in practice, and this is just an indicative view of the program, is a 6-month program essentially, where the touch points are broken down once weekly throughout the program in the green areas highlighted here, with various events and networking engagements dotted throughout. It's designed to be light touch, so it can sit inside your BAU whilst providing really valuable opportunities for you as a business. How to apply? For those that haven't had access yet, you can scan the QR code, or we'll be following up with a link to apply. But essentially, you need to create a platform in the community hub and then submit your application there. In terms of eligibility, you must be an SME. You must have a UK registered business and bank account in order to access the funding. Ideally, your TRL level must be 6 or higher, although we will accept so on a case-by-case basis. And clearly, you must address one or more of the challenges shared within the challenge themes themselves. Some of the key dates to take into consideration for the program. So applications close at midnight on the 25th of this month. If you are down selected into the final, say 10 to 20 applications, we'll be doing 2 rounds of interviews. One will be a technical due diligence, where the technical team will take a deep dive into your business and solution before we then put you in front of all the program partners on the 8th and 9th of November. So the time slots will be on either the 8th or 9th of November, where you'll be presenting your application and proposal to the program partners. If you're then selected for the program, we'll be doing some pre-onboarding sessions with you in terms of scoping out your proposals before hosting a welcome day on the 4th of December in London. And the program will run for 6 months, culminating with a demo day in May. The date of that is still to be determined. In terms of how your applications are scored, it's broken down into these 4 buckets. So looking at your solution, is it an innovative product with clear USPs, and have you developed that product yourself? Traction and financials, so have you had market traction to date and demonstrating a product market fit? Are you already working with clients in this space? Your team, in terms of demonstrating your technical experience and capability to actually deliver the trial itself. And also your program fit, in terms of, does your proposal align with the challenge of the program, and would it be achievable to deliver within the timeframes of the program itself? So we have now time for Q&A. I'm going to be taking the Q&As one by one out of the Q&A box. If you want to start adding them now, I will start going through them. So I have a question here. The support seems to be mainly for public sector air taxi models. Is there room for private mobility companies looking beyond the rush to market air taxi models? I think if I understand the question right, it's asking about different use cases for the same type of technology, which I think the answer is yes. We're always looking for routes to market, but we're also the adjacent opportunities for some of these technologies. And if someone was to put a proposal forward that really articulates that, we would look to, if you were selected for the program, bring in organizations that would really benefit from understanding the type of trial that you're looking to deliver, but also making sure that what you are delivering is commercially viable. I've got some more questions here. So what's the role of the program partners? The actual roles vary in terms of, some of them are clear commercial opportunities, whereas some of them are just framed more as mentoring to support either product market fit or guidance on things like regulations, ensuring that you're taking everything into consideration. For international applicants who are not currently UK registered, when do you need them to have the UK registration before the course of the 6 months? So we've had it in the past where international SMEs have been selected for the program. In order to get access for the funding, you do have to be a UK registered limited business, and you do have to have a UK bank account, which typically can take up to 3 months in a worst case scenario, but it is doable. So if you are selected, you would have to take into consideration that you might not get the funding until halfway through the program. What if the company is TRL level 4, but can demonstrate that they can be TRL level 6 very quickly if grants are available? I think even if you are below the TRL 6 level, you should still definitely apply for us to take it into consideration on a case-by-case basis. We are very much open for any application. It will be down to the partners of the program who do select the SMEs at the end of the day. And if they see an opportunity, a clear opportunity there with a lower TRL business, they're very open to doing so. For the trials, do you expect in-person or in-person in the UK or virtual? I think it really depends on types of technologies. Some of the technologies are pure SaaS based, so they obviously are done online and they're not place based, doing demonstrations in person. If it was to be an in-person demonstration, it would need to be the UK, with it being UK funding. So question here around, would Connected Places Catapult or partners claim any IP developed through the Accelerator? The answer is no, all IP is owned by yourself. Do CPC or partners take any equity for applying for the program? And the answer is no, it's purely a grant-based program. There's no equity taken in the businesses that apply. Can the application be joint with another SME working together, or do they need to apply separately? You can very much do joint projects. There just needs to be a lead applicant. So the joint element can come through in the actual proposal. And that could be an SME, but it could also be a client of yours. As a final question here, will you be sharing the slides for today? Yeah, we'll be following up with all registrants of the webinar today with links to the recording for you to view back. That's all of the questions answered for today. If you do have any outstanding questions, please do reach out to me. My email is just here on the left-hand side. I'd be happy to help with any applications or questions that you might have. But that's it for today. Thank you very much for joining, and look forward to seeing your applications coming in over the next couple of weeks. Thanks very much.